What a lad. And this is it. The moment you have all been waiting for. There hasn't been this much talk around a decision since LeBron left the Cavs. And today, a legendary lad who has been on the What a Lad podcast before and told his story already. But today he will be announcing his future. There's been talk around a code switch to the Roosters. There's been talk around staying in Japan, where he's been absolutely killing it, or even a return to the New Zealand Rugby Union. He's a man that everybody wants on their books for good reason. It is the absolute great lad himself, TJ Perenara. Welcome, brother.
Kia ora, brother. Thanks for the intro, bro. There's a lot of nice things you said there, bro. So thanks for that, bro. It's good to be here.
Hey, mate, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you coming on. This is obviously a lot of people have been talking about this over the last few weeks. It's a big decision. How's it been? How's the whole last month been for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty full on, bro. It's been hard not to think about it and to hit, because I obviously want to focus on playing well here and getting us deeper in the competition, which sadly ended for us on the weekend. But I had to just allocate time to be able to focus on it, because it was always in the back of my mind when I was trying to just block it all out. So putting that time aside every day or every couple of days to be able to have the conversations I needed to have was really good. Yeah,
it obviously didn't affect your form, though, because I know I exaggerate a lot, but I'm not exaggerating when I say you have been absolutely killing it over there. You've made a huge difference to that Red Hurricanes team, who were losing games by hundreds last year, and now they're one of the top teams in the competition, it's probably fair to say. So, mate, your form's been on fire, so it obviously hasn't affected that.
Thanks, bro. It's we've got a really good group of guys. I'm here with your brother, obviously. We got Marty here. Owi's here as well. So being able to have all of those minds together and really drive our team throughout the week's it's been really cool. And I've enjoyed the footy. We spoke a little bit earlier. I'm playing a little bit different role over here than I have been of late in New Zealand. And I've enjoyed it. It's pretty less defending than I'm used to. And I usually prefer to defend more, but I'm getting more touches offensively, so it's been good.
Oh, he loves to defend. Is that a hint where he's going? So before we get to the decision, who were the other offers? Obviously, the Red Hurricanes would have wanted you back. The OG Canes would have wanted you back. They obviously missed you this season. There's been a lot of talk around the Roosters. It sounds like they were really keen. Was there anyone else who was on the cards?
No, those three were the main three. There was a little bit of noise here in Japan with another club too, but we can't really engage with other clubs. It's a rule here, I think, based on like a contract. You have to, I think, get approval to be able to negotiate with another club. So there was some noise from another club here, but nothing formal. But those three clubs, Armour, the Hurricanes in New Zealand, and the Roosters were the main ones that we were sort of talking to.
True.
So it's been full on. It has been full on.
Mate, well, let's get to it. Where are you going?
My wife and I have decided to come home. So we're really, really excited and really thankful for the Hurricanes and New Zealand Rugby for giving us that opportunity. So we're pumped for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How good is that? How good. Oh, man. That's awesome. As much as I was excited to see you play for the Roosters, man, the Canes, hearing you going back to the Canes, that's awesome news as a full-on Canes fan.
Thanks, bro. It was a really hard decision, bro, and it come down to pretty much last night on our decision, or yesterday on our decision. But like my wife and I had to weigh up sort of pros and cons of all three decisions really, and coming home for us as a family, for our girl, was the right decision for us.
So how close did you get to the Roosters?
Like, I reckon we were at a stage at one point where we might have even been leaning more towards going to league and coming back to Japan as a dual sort of a deal. Then we were coming home. So yeah, last night was 50-50. Maybe a little bit more in favour of coming back to New Zealand. But 2 or 3 weeks ago, if we had to make that decision on that day, it could have been a different decision. We were probably more in favour with coming back to Japan and playing in the NRL.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would that have been this season's NRL?
Yeah. So I would have finished here, gone into my isolation in Sydney, and then joined the team for the back end of the year. And we fell into a couple complications with insurance and that. I don't know how they got out, by the way, but someone said that, and they were pretty accurate with what they were saying. But that wasn't the deciding factor. I spoke with people in the Roosters environment yesterday, and if we decided to do it, we would have found a way to make the insurance side of it work too. And so that didn't end up being a factor, really.
True. Far out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the main reason was for the family, because I know your wife and baby aren't over in Japan with you at the moment, so to get back home and to be with them, that must have been the main reason, I guess. Yeah,
there were two really big reasons. That was definitely one of them. I haven't been with Greer and Maya since the 30th of January, so that's been a long time. And part of our decision, if we were going to come here, we always knew that there was a potential that it might happen again. Risking our daughter's health is just not something we wanted to do. So although we don't know what the world's going to be like in 6 months' time, and it potentially could be fine, and we could have come over as a family, but there was also that potential that it might not be like that. And committing to a team here in Japan and then having them go home again or not even come over would have been too hard, bro. It's probably been the hardest 3 or 4 months of my life not having them.
Yeah.
And then I felt unsettled, or not unsettled is the wrong word. I felt if I don't go back to New Zealand as well, there was always a part of me thinking I haven't done everything I wanted to do. There's still some unfinished business left for me in New Zealand, and so those were the two major drivers.
So your wife and baby were over there at the start, but they moved home because of COVID. Was that the reason they moved home? Yeah,
it was. So we came up here as a family in December, and COVID got pretty bad here in Osaka, and it was in the league at the time. There were some teams that had COVID, and the season was still going ahead, and I couldn't see any indications that things were going to change or we were going to have time off to see if things settled down at all. So the risk of me going in and playing footy and training, being on the subway every day, I felt like I was at high risk of getting coronavirus, and bringing that home to my wife and to baby was just too much of a risk for us to take. We didn't want Amaya to get sick and then she ends up in a hospital over here without our families in that here, with the language barrier too, which would have been really difficult. So it just ended up being a decision for her safety and her health over a decision for what Greer and I wanted, and what pain we didn't want to have to feel by leaving each other,
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. So when do you join up with the Hurricanes? Is that for next season, or is that as soon as possible?
So I'll sign a 2.5-year deal with New Zealand, which takes me through the World Cup, hopefully.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
So leave here, and I'm contracted to New Zealand Rugby. So if there's injury cover or something, I'm not in the Hurricane squad for this year, so I'll train with them. I'll turn up to Rugby Park and I'll be training. But I don't know how the details work in, whether I can join the squad or whatever. I think if an injury happens, which I don't wish injury upon anyone, but if the nature of our game,
Look out, Luke Campbell, you're in trouble.
No. The nature of our game, that stuff can happen. So I am available to come to the squad if they want me to.
So how many halfbacks have they got at the moment? They've got 3, is it?
Well, we've got 4. So we've got Jamie Booth.
Is he back? Is he fit now?
Nah, sorry, he's not fit, but he's in the squad. We've got Luke Campbell, and then Cameron Roygaard's been there since for the whole year. Boothie was obviously ruled out pretty early on, so he's been there the whole year.
So you need an injury to one of those other guys who are fit at the moment?
I'm not sure. I think, I don't know if you have to swap like for like a prop goes down. I don't know if I can come in or not. Yeah, I'm unsure, but I'll make myself available, and I'll be ready to go if the opportunity does arise.
Wow, that would be hissing. Straight back in there.
I'd love to, and then, but if not, I'd love to be playing club rugby for Norths as well. So either way, being back home, training with the boys, and then being able to either play in that competition or play for Norths would be cool.
Wow, that would be awesome. So does that make you available for the All Blacks as well?
I'm not sure for that June or July series. At this stage, I think the rules are you have to play in the New Zealand competition, like a professional competition, to be eligible, unless you've written it in your contract. Where I didn't have a contract to come back to, so I didn't write that into anything. So I have to play in a competition before being eligible for the All Blacks. So if I do come in as injury cover, I guess it might, but if not, then I don't think so.
True, man. That is crazy. So there'll be a lot of pressure on one of these nights to get injured.
No.
Across the whole country.
No way. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. Our boys have been going good.
Yeah, that's true. So talk to me a little bit more about the league. So had you spoken to Trent Robinson and stuff? Did it get that close?
Yeah, I had a lot of conversations with Trent and some of their training staff, but I got to the point where I was getting training drills and conditioning plans to prepare myself to play leagues.
Oh, wow.
And I'm implementing that into my extras and stuff like that. Not stuff that would distract me or take me away from playing rugby, but stuff that would be I could easily do at the back end of a training session that would really help me condition into going to league. So like I said it earlier, it was really, really close, and it was a really, really tough decision. I spoke with Trent yesterday about it as well. He was in full support of either decision I made. He understood the reasons for coming if I came, and the reasons if I didn't. So it's been really, really good to work with him on that level too.
Is it something you'd potentially look at down the future, maybe after your contract expires, or do you feel like this was your opportunity?
I never say never, but I felt this was a really good opportunity for it. I feel like I'm playing really good footy. The game at the moment in league suits the way I play for a hooker. I felt like it gave me enough time to do it and do it pretty well, especially coming in this season halfway through. Would be a real learning phase, but being able to play as well would have been a good introduction to it. And then if I go well, I don't know, the potential of staying on longer term, doing Japan and then coming back to the NRL again. There was a lot of discussions about it, and it was really exciting, to be fair.
So it was hooker, and you were looking to play straight away. Was that the feedback that you'd had? 80 minutes sort of hooker?
I'd like to, yeah. Trent saw me as a hooker. I saw myself as a hooker who could probably cover in the halves if I needed to, if something happened. And there was going to be a bit more of an introduction phase at the start. I don't know exactly how it would have worked, but they would have got me with the conditioning team, probably tested me early on in the first couple of days out of isolation, just to see where I was at and then what they thought I needed to do in order to be able to play, and then play. Right.
What sort of conditioning stuff were they giving you? Was it tackle stuff? Because that's the question mark a lot of people had in comments and stuff. I was reading it all, but your ability to make 50 tackles plus and still be able to perform, but your contact fitness is hissing. So you obviously didn't question your ability to be able to make that amount of tackles?
No, I don't. In league, they do make a bunch more tackles than us. in rugby union. But a lot of it is assist tackling and that as well. Which, like, tackling's fine. Like, I enjoy tackling. There's going to be a transition period into making that. I mean, it just is what it is. If you do something more than you used to, you're going to have to transition to get used to it. But I was, like, it's the wrestling side of it that I reckon would have been a little bit harder in the defence. Like, making a tackle is making a tackle, but like, they catch a lot of it as well and tackle quite high. So catching, wrestling someone, taking him to ground and getting him back up, that would have been the harder bit in the conditioning side of it. But my biggest concern with going in terms of a time restraint was the connection with the team, being able to build relationships with the team. If you're playing hooker and you're part of the spine, being able to drive a team around without knowing anyone really, and coming into the middle of the season, like, I don't know the vibe of the team, I don't know the lads, I don't know the dynamic on how we want to play. Like, I know coaches have their dynamic and how they see the game going, but especially in rugby, 9s, 10s, fullbacks, like, we know how we want to play the game. Even though the game plan is the game plan is given to the team. Like, we sort of understand each other and what we think we should do in certain situations. And you only build that through time in the saddle with someone. So, like, I wouldn't be able to have that. It would literally be what's on the board. I'm going to go out there and do that. And there'd be less instinct with a relationship there.
Yeah, that's true. So had you messaged any of the boys? Had you been in contact with any of the lads? You messaging Teddy very often?
I didn't. Because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't want to create a relationship and then to have to let someone down. Like, coming here, I remember I messaged you and asked for your brother's number. I was pretty sure I was coming at that point. So I was comfortable to build that relationship and to have those sorts of conversations. But when I knew how split the decision was, I didn't want to build a relationship and then have to let someone down.
But you've got a lot of relationships already with a lot of league stars, Brandon Smith and stuff. He's been talking about messaging you. You've been asking him for some advice, etc. So how's that relationship work?
Yeah, so we, in lockdown last year, we all got into NBA cards and collecting NBA cards. And so we started this group. Isaac John, he does YKTR. So he started a group chat and a bunch of the boys are all in there. And then when the whole prospect of it came up, I was like, man, I got some pretty good players in this chat. And I reached out and messaged a bunch of them, just messaged Brandon about what he thinks a good hooker is, what conditioning I would need to do if I was coming. Messaged a couple of other boys that play in the halves about what they expect from a good hooker. What they need from their hooker in terms of service, in terms of manipulating defensive with a running game, kicking game, and just trying to see what they thought the best hooker looked like for them.
What sort of advice did they give you? What sort of feedback did you get?
No, I got really good advice from it. A lot of it wasn't around the conditioning, the tackling side of it. They had the same thoughts on, bro, if you train it, you're going to get used to it. It's simple as that. Tackling is tackling. You either want to tackle or you don't. And I enjoy tackling, so I was never worried about that. But you just got to condition yourself for it, which is fine. But the understanding ruck speed, when to be able to have a go from a ruck, and when to serve, and the ability to be crafty around that too. I think you see a lot of hookers now at the moment, they're breaking out of a ruck right, then pulling back and then coming back to the left, and that's creating a mismatch, or creating a team to shift one way, and then you're getting your halves on bigger boys going sideways, which is it's really smart. And I never really watched league that way until I got that feedback from some of those boys.
True. That's crazy, man. And you would have been deadly out of dummy half, close to the line. You would have been kicking at least a couple of 40-20s a game.
I would have loved kicking on that left edge. I enjoy that kick in rugby. Being able to do that with 10 metres space. I know there's markers there, but off a quick right, 10 metres of space. being able to get into a kick there would have been cool.
Honestly, how many 40-20s do you reckon you would have kicked? and you got 10 games left in the season.
Bro, I guarantee I would have attempted one first game, bro, straight up. I definitely would have, bro. I would have tried to kick a bunch, I reckon.
Oh, mate, I'm a little bit gutted that I'm never going to actually get to see this. I reckon it would have been interesting because it doesn't really happen enough, I don't feel, like union guys jump over the league. We don't really get to see it. They've usually come from league first, like your Sunnies and Brad Thorns, but not many straight-out union guys head over to league and give it a try, but it would have been awesome to see. Yeah,
I would have loved it. Like I still get excited talking about it now, and like I'm content with the decision and what Greer and I decided to do. But there will always be that part. We think, man, that would have been a really cool experience. And like it's awesome to watch. Like we obviously all play Supercoach in that, and seeing the boys out there and being invested in it that way, and then for the last sort of month to 2 months, having a little bit more investment in it and being like, man, I can do this, and I feel like I can do it really well. That's been cool.
My Supercoach team was desperate for you too. You would have been a Supercoach gun,
We cash cow, you reckon, boy?
Yeah, well, you would have started at basement price, and would have been interesting to see what your value was at the end of the season. First $1 million player, probably.
Nah, whatever, boy. Get off it.
Is it true you messaged Adam Reynolds? Was it true you messaged Adam Reynolds on the April Fool's joke, or was that a stitch up? There's someone pulling my leg there.
I did. Of the April Fool's joke. Because he's in that group. He's in that group chat as well. So I had already reached out to him. I had already reached out to him for like advice on what he wants from hookers. Yeah, and then I saw that, bro, and I was like, "Bro, this could be nice, bro." And I messaged him, bro. I think I was with your brother and Marty, and because they saw it too, and I'm like, "No, this is it." And then I looked down, and he's like, "Nah, it's April Fool's, bro."
Got him.
Yeah, it took me a while to admit it to your brother and Marty, no way, because I was talking about him on the train. I was like, nah, boy, it's April Fool's.
Crack up. So, was an option ever to just stay in Japan, or that was never really an option?
Yeah, it was an option. There was an option to try and like come back to New Zealand for the 6-month period and come back to Japan as well. So that was talked about, and that was on the table. Or stay in Japan and just come home and rest. But the big thing that I had was that, like, I like playing the game. I like competing. So having not playing for, I think the season starts in January, so not playing from now till January just didn't make any sense to me. It felt like I'd be wasting some of the best years of my career by doing nothing. So I wanted to be playing. So even though it was tabled, I never considered just doing that.
Sabbatical's never an option for you, eh? You hate rest.
We can rest later, like, I reckon. And I know everyone's different, like forwards are a little bit different because they have to smash each other all the time and whatever, but I don't want to ever retire and be like, man, I could have had, I don't know, 6 months more game of playing. When it's all said and done, I reckon I would love to have 6 months more playing. So I don't want to ever, while I'm at this point in my career, which I think I'm playing some of the best footy I've played, and I want to continue to grow that, I don't want to rest for that. I want to enjoy that.
Yeah, fair enough. So was money ever a big factor in it? I feel like you're probably turning down a huge money in Japan to play in New Zealand. Is that sort of true?
There's a pretty big offer here in Japan that we've said no to, and we're very grateful for the offer and for I guess how I was valued on, because that effectively when a team makes you an offer, that's what they're saying they value you at. And I know people don't say it's for the money and stuff like that. And like a lot of the reason we play this game is because we love the game, but we only get a short time frame in this. So when a company offers you something, that's them showing you how they value you. So to have that sort of compliment, I guess I could call it, from clubs here was very humbling. And yet we are taking less money to come home, but when we weighed it up, like it just didn't matter. That time apart from my baby, like she's 9 months old now, and I've been absent in her life over half of that. But I've only been with her 3 of those 9 months, or 3 and a bit of those 9 months. So it wasn't worth risking that again. Like I can't risk that again.
Yeah. Mate, that's fair enough. So something that you've talked about before is, in terms of money, is players should be more open with how much money they're getting. Do you still sort of feel like that?
Yeah, like with each other. Like I don't think I should sign a contract and go and post. I signed it before. But I'm a big believer. Yeah, I'm a big believer that like we should know what our peer is earning. The only person who wins if we don't know is the club, or is the company that's paying you, because they can. If you got 2 players, I don't know, who are signed for the same position, sharing the same amount of minutes, producing the same amount, but one of them's earning, say, $1, and the other one's earning 65 cents of that dollar.
Yeah. And
you'd never know unless you 2 communicate, because the company's not going to say, "Oh, I'm paying him $1 and you 65 cents." They're not going to tell you that, because then you'll be like, "Well, I'm producing the same thing." And what I reckon it does give for players, the power it gives to players is they can see that compromise. They can see where they sit. So we all know in our hearts, like, where we think we are, and compared to the people in our positions, compared to the people who we're playing with, like, you know whereabouts you sit. So if you're getting so much less money than someone that you know you're better than, or someone that you know you're performing at a higher level than, or playing more minutes than, like, you have that ability to negotiate that, to be like, "Man, I'm producing all of this. The bro over here's not, and he's getting paid that. Like, I feel like I should be getting paid more." But and it's not a knock on each other, and that's where I think people get confused with it. It's not me looking at the guy next to me saying, "Fuck, he's shit." It's just me saying, like, I can see what I'm producing, I can see what you're producing. I still want you to get paid. Like, I want everyone to get paid and get paid well. But me knowing what you're getting allows me to negotiate so I can get paid more too.
Mate, you're talking a lot of sense there. That's some real talk right there, because it doesn't happen. Everyone keeps their contract secret, and it's always been that way. And I feel like the guys who are getting paid a lot are embarrassed about how much they're getting paid, and the guys who aren't getting paid, I guess they're embarrassed as well because they're not getting paid.
I reckon we've got this like real bad relationship with money. I remember growing up, my mum and dad would always say, "Don't ask people what they earn. You just never ever do that. You don't talk about money." And that creates like a really bad relationship with money. And I can see like people would probably like that embarrassment. They don't there's a lot of banter in rugby circles. So if people start to know what each other's on, people might get afraid of that banter. But like it's part of it. And I'm very open with anyone if they ask me what I'm earning, regardless of what position they play, if they want to know so that they can, negotiate their contract. Then like I want that person to have that knowledge. You know, it's so much more empowering as a person when you know what situation you're going into. Because if you walk into a negotiation and the guy says, "Oh, this is the most we can pay you," and you've got nothing to measure that against, like, of course, like, you sign that contract.
No doubt. But in league it's a little bit different. It feels like everyone knows. The media knows straight away what guys are getting paid. I saw a few figures come out for you of what your offers were at the Roosters. So, which I think that is sort of a little bit the other way, though, because I see a lot of players getting social media abuse, that sort of stuff, for being a high-paid player, and obviously not performing as $1 million player or whatever or whatever they're earning. So a few guys have come under the pump that way, but. How do you feel about it, that side?
For starters, they're pretty accurate on what they were saying. Again, I don't know how these guys know. They know. Especially the league one. Like I think my wife sent me. It was my cousin actually sent me stuff that they threw out about some Japanese contracts and that. But there must have been NRL reporters doing it because they weren't accurate with that. But then like spot on the button with the NRL one. So.
Yeah, I noticed that. Those league those Japan ones were way unders, but that league one, even that league one looked unders to me. that league one, so it wasn't a huge amount of money to go to the Roosters. That wasn't ever really a part of it.
No, the money wasn't a part of it. Like it was. I really wanted to test myself and the experience, and I thought I could do it well, and I backed myself to take that contract and play well, and then earn my worth in the NRL. Yeah. So that was always my mindset on it. In terms of how like the media go out, and I think one of the bros that you were talking about, who's been copping a bit of stick for being paid that much. Like what I struggle with is that they say that we're overpaid, players are overpaid and stuff like that. But where do they want that money to go? Do they want like people who are sitting above us and not playing to be getting paid more? I don't quite understand it, like I don't like the ability for people to abuse regardless. I don't care if it's about money or what it's about, but it's there. I think the positive that we get as players, understanding what our environment's on and what people are getting, outweighs the negative that, I don't know, your average person's going to write something bad about me. Like someone will watch this clip that we're going to put up, this podcast, and they're going to say something bad about me about footy, like kids,
Yeah.
This is what it is. You're going to disagree with my view on the money side of it, so like kids, I would rather the environment and the people around me and future kids coming through have more understanding and more power to make decisions, more than I care about what someone's going to say about it.
Oh, you're a lad. Absolute lad. Was it ever an option to be paid in cryptocurrency? I know you're quite big on it.
I'd love to, Like I reckon.
Would you?
Yeah.
Would you be the first New Zealand athlete?
Especially a portion of it. But I think it's smart. I've been thinking about it a little bit actually, and Trevor Lawrence, I think he signed his sign-on bonus. He just got drafted first in the NFL, and I was trying to work out why he did that. Like, why wouldn't you just take the money and then buy your cryptocurrency? Like, why would you? And my understanding is just say there's $1 million. I think it was $24 million sign-on. So if he got paid that, he'd get taxed on that, and then he could buy his cryptocurrency. But if you get $24 million worth of Bitcoin, you get $24 million worth of Bitcoin. You don't get the 39% tax or the 50% tax on top of that.
Right.
So that's probably why. So it makes so much sense to me to do that.
So was it? Is it?
No, I don't know. I don't know if you can do that yet. It's definitely worth conversation, though. I'd love to have a conversation about it.
Well, in 2.5 years, that's you, I reckon. So what are you excited about getting back to New Zealand and trying to make the All Blacks again? What's motivating you?
I'm really excited to get home, to be around family, to play for the Hurricanes, and try and make the All Blacks. Play for North, so I'm really excited about that. I think another thing that's really driving me at the moment is I've got a new respect for rugby, and it actually came up yesterday. This conversation in a league circle, actually having a conversation about league and saying like that it's been the hardest 4 months of my life, and how much I appreciate being an athlete and how much respect I have for training and stuff to help me through this time. And then that conversation finished, and I was like, man, I actually think it's the respect I have for rugby has changed. Like, I've always loved the game. I always give everything to the game. But I reckon I did that because I wanted to be better all the time. I wanted to keep getting better and play at a higher level and be a better rugby player, not because of how much the game has given me. And reflecting over this last 4 months, like it's been the constant for me. It's been something that's really helped me through some tough times. So I feel like I owe it to rugby to come back and to give rugby the. I don't want to say I disrespect the rugby because I've always trained hard, but it's the mindset when I'm training now, the application to detail when I'm in a meeting it's for a different reason. It's not as much for me anymore. It's because I want to give back to the game for how it's helped me, especially through this last 4 months.
Man, that's powerful stuff.
Yeah, so that's and it only sort of clicked after it's weird, but it's after that league conversation when I thought that's what my feelings were about training, and then I reflected on it and I was like, man, it's actually my feelings about rugby, and that was another sort of big eye-opening moment. Was like, if I don't go back to rugby, like I'll never be able to repay it for how it helped me now.
Yeah. Oh, good. Wow. Oh, I love it. So, All Blacks, is that the goal? Get that number 9 jersey, build towards that World Cup?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's always been my goal, and now being back in New Zealand rugby, it continues to be my goal. I love competing at the highest level, and with some of the best players in the world. We've got some really good 9s in New Zealand, and I'm really looking forward to that competition and to continue to try and be better. And yeah, starting for the All Blacks is my massive goal. It's my dream and it's what I want to do. But I'm also really excited about the process of that too. That's the end result. But I'm really excited about that process of training hard, playing well, turning up every day and trying to be better. That's something that's really driving me too.
Who's impressed you from stepping out of the New Zealand rugby scene to watching from afar? You've obviously been watching a lot of Super Rugby Aotearoa. Who's impressed you? I
think outside of Webby and Nuggy, who I think are awesome players and obviously incumbent All Black 9s. I really liked Folau when he was playing earlier this year. I thought he was really, really good. He obviously had a really good Mitre 10 Cup, and then gutted for him and his injury. Like I messaged him pretty much straight away when he got injured, because you never want to see it, especially when someone's going good, man. Like he is playing really well. So I was excited watching him play. And then I'm really impressed with Triple T. Like I know he hasn't had it his way a lot of the time over the last couple of years, but with his opportunity he got this year, he's playing at a really high level. He made a massive impact for that Chiefs team when he came on the field. And then lastly, I thought Sam Knock was really good. He didn't play heaps of games. I think he might have only played 4 or 5. But he was good, man. Like they've got Finlay and Jonathan up there as well, who are both really good players. But I thought when Sam Knock was playing, he looked really, really sharp.
True. So who do you think the All Blacks will go with for their third halfback until you get called in for injury cover?
Oh man, I don't know. So I'd like to see them go. Well, it's tough. I think the conversation is going to be about probably it'll be Triple T. I think Sam Knock will be in the conversation, and I think one of the Crusaders halfbacks will be in the conversation too. Because although I didn't mention them, I probably don't, and people don't talk about Mitch or Bryn that much. But because they're always so consistently good, people take that for granted almost. So they expect Bryn to go out there and play well. They expect Mitch to go out there and play well. And when they do that, nothing's really said about it. But if you're not expected to do it and you go and do it, like there's a lot more noise about it. So I think that it'll be the conversation out of those 4. Sorry, and Finlay Christie's definitely in there too, I'd say.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the Hurricanes. You're obviously watching the Hurricanes for the first time for a long, long time, since '08 or something. So what was it like being out of the team, watching from afar, watching the Hurricanes go to work?
I didn't like it. I didn't like not being able to impact it and not being able to be a part of the environment. It was hard, man. It was hard. Like, I love the team. I love the boys. And I want to see us do well, but not being able to impact the environment, not being able to go out on the field, it was tough. It was hard to just sit back and enjoy the games because I wanted to be there so much. Yeah.
What were they missing? Where did they struggle, you think?
Well, we lost a few close games, which really hurts. Like it's such a short competition. That if you lose a couple early games and a couple close ones, like it can have a real impact on the team and on the environment. So that, like, closing out games hurt us as a team, and that sort of had a flow-on effect into the next games. It's hard to put a finger on it when I'm not in the environment. I'm not there day to day, because I thought we did play some really good footy for big portions of it. And then we're unlucky not to close a couple of those games.
Yeah, a lot of games were lost by small margins, and like you said, those key moments towards the back end of games is definitely something that they miss. Which you were always a guru at, closing out games.
It's I don't know what to say, but it's bro. You see. It's not easy, bro. Like, I've been in games where I've lost those games. Like in the weekend, we lost a game where we probably should have closed out.
They took you off though.
No, before that we should have closed. But then, like, there was a couple games in our season here that if we had lost them at the depth when we won them, like, our season looks real different. And that's, bro, it's like a couple minutes, one decision, one play, that can be the difference between you looking at having like a really successful season or looking like your team struggle. So it's hard to pinpoint one thing sometimes.
It is crazy, eh? And last thing, before you signed with the Canes, was it always the Canes? Because I know you messaged me and you said you're going to the Blues, which I didn't believe for a second. I knew you'd never do that. But was it ever an option to go to another Super Rugby side?
Nah, bro, not for me. It's like my whole family's in Wellington. It's been my home for so long. My wife's family's there. It's home. Like, I couldn't imagine playing for another team or coming home to New Zealand and not being in Wellington. So no, it wasn't an option at all.
You weren't fooling me on that one.
Bro, I saw that. Like, do you know on WhatsApp how you can see when the bro's typing, someone else is typing, and I see you guys see typing and they're not typing and nothing. And I was like, I might have them. I might have them.
Oh wow! Anyway, as always, gone to our Instagram for some questions, and I always say that we've got heaps for them, heaps of questions, but I don't usually. I'm usually lying, but today, when you come on, man, so many questions. You must have reposted it because it's absolutely blown up. But to be fair, a lot of them are just wishing that we've got Roosters fans hoping that you're coming to the Roosters. We've got Hurricanes fans hoping you're coming back. We've got Japanese fans saying please stay in Japan. So many of them are those sort of comments. So just shows you how much people are wanting you to be part of their side. But,
thanks, bro.
First question. This is from your bro, actually. King of the Hill, around 15 years ago. Talk me through what happened.
That's TJ. We were playing King of the Hill down at the beach, and me and him, bro, like, compete at everything. Like, I'm really competitive, and it's more so with him. Like,
wow.
It's not good, and he's exactly the same with me.
What's King of the Hill?
King of the Hill. So, like, everyone starts at the bottom of the hill, and you got to try and get to the top. It's like Bull Rush, but
I'm with you.
and I was in the middle, like I was the tackler on that one.
Yeah.
And there was heaps of us there, and we'd been competing all day and like annoying each other and that. And I was like, bro, I'm going to get him straight away. Like, he's going to be the first one I get. And he was going up the hill, and I let him go past me and act like I wasn't going to get him. And then I ran out and I like tackled him from behind, and like I was cracking up and laughing at him and like getting smart to him. And he just turns around, bro, and then boom, punched me like straight in the face, bro. And I was just whoa, like, no good, like bleeding and everything. It was no good. And then like I was like upset with him, he was upset with me, and he like walked to the bus stop, bro, and he was going to catch the bus, and we were walking off, and he called out to us. It's like, bro, I've got no money to catch the bus. And then, but it was funny, bro. It was funny.
How old were you then? How old are you?
Oh, would have been like 13, 12 or 13.
Oh,
in fact, that day actually started, bro. It started because I hadn't seen him in ages.
Yeah.
And we were both like overweight growing up. We were both like chubbier. And I hadn't seen him. It would have been maybe 6 months since I'd seen him. And then he turned up and I was like, bro, I got abs now.
Well, that's like, right. Yeah.
No, you don't. He's like, nah, I got abs now. And he lifted up his top, bro, and he had abs, bro. And I was like so devastated. I was so gutted. And then he was like mocking me about that, like at the start. And then that's where it all sort of like went back and forth throughout the day. And then that was the tipping point.
When the punch. Yeah, wow, that is good stuff. Okay, next question. What led you to making deals with Under Armour and Powerade over others?
So Under Armour deal was there was a conversation pretty much. So I sat down with a couple of the team there at Under Armour, and a big part of why I signed with Under Armour, they led the conversation with a community-based idea. So it had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with money. Their pitch had nothing to do with me, really. To be fair, it had to do with how they wanted to help communities and how they wanted to help their athletes' communities as well. So being with Under Armour gave me a really good opportunity to help Purirua, and that was like when they led with that. That didn't really matter what else they said after it. I was pretty keen.
That's cool. And Powerade?
Powerade is a really awesome company to work with. I've worked with them, like not directly, but like through the All Blacks and stuff like that. And I've always enjoyed the team there. So when they reached out, the people that were involved, I had been with before, I had talked with before, and I've always had really positive connections with them. So being able to work with them and being able to work with those people, that's why I wanted to be a part of that team.
That ad's still one of my favourite ads on Telly. Oh, I love that ad.
I get so much for that ad. Like everyone gives me shit for it, man. Like I don't. But I reckon because I ended up coming here, so we would have done another shoot in December of last year for the shoot. Because I was here. We just ran with it again, you know. So hopefully we can have something new for you guys.
That's the real reason you came back. Get that ad off.
Oh shit.
Okay, next question. Oh, what's your favourite Japanese word?
My favourite Japanese word. But my favourite sentence probably is like "Kino wa nani shimasu ka?" or "Kino wa nani shimasu ka?" Sorry, or "Sumimasu nani shimasu ka?" Like asking people what they've done in the weekend or what they've done the day before. So I enjoy that. I like "Anata no kazoku wa genki desu ka?" Like how is your family? So stuff like that.
Jeez. You sound fluent. I always struggle whenever I ask someone a question like that. I had no idea what their answer was. But can you understand what they're saying when they answer those questions?
Yeah, well, a lot of it's... So when you ask that... So Okabe, who sits across from Tom and I next to Marty. So I'll often talk with him first because he speaks pretty good English too. And then so I'll ask him, then he'll reply to me, and then I'll ask him what he said, and a lot of people say it's something similar, something similar.
Oh yeah.
True. So now like my dialogue is a little bit better, especially around like real basic stuff, like how are you, how's your family, what did you do yesterday, what are you doing for lunch and stuff.
Oh, you're a wizard, and you're obviously still learning Te Reo too.
Yeah, still learning Te Reo Māori. I think I made a conscious effort to learn Nihongo while I was here and not focus as much on Te Reo Māori. I think I talked to Luke, he's pretty much my Te Reo Māori mentor, about being here, and I wanted to keep learning Māori, and he said it's really Māori to dive into another culture while you're on their land as well. So I was much as I want to continue to learn Māori, and I have continued to learn Māori, I really wanted to dive into the culture here and embrace it and respect it and give it the respect it deserves. I think a lot of foreigners come over here and stick in like a foreign group and don't dive in as much, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Nice. This sort of leads on to this question. How have you found being vegan in Japan?
It's been tough. It's I've got like a select group of things that I can eat there.
There's a lot of meat, eh?
There's a lot of meat here, man. A lot of meat. But Okabe, that same guy I was talking to, he orders me stuff, like vegan stuff that I get delivered here, which is sweet.
Oh, true. You can't really eat out then, can you?
There's like 3 or 4 places that are pretty good.
Turkish,
this Turkish place that we can eat it. It's pretty good. And then at training, because we get lunch and dinner, they make me a vegan feed as well.
Oh yeah,
which is
all good. Okay, this one's from obviously a Waterland listener. He wants to hear the backstory of what happened in the 3 a.m. Yoyo bet with Snakey. How did it happen?
He didn't turn up, bro. I'm telling you. Snakey didn't turn up. He was past 3 a.m. nights at that stage of his career. So we made the bet, and he didn't turn up to it, bro. He's still gutted too, because we've never run a yo-yo against each other. But I saw him run a yo-yo at Te Whaia up top of the Hurricanes when he was coming back after his sabbatical, but he was doing it by himself.
Oh, true.
Yeah, bro. And he ran like, it would have been, I think it was like an 18.5 or an 18.6.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Wow. But he was just like cruising back into, he'd still had 8 weeks away until he was playing, but he just came back and just did it. And bro, I ripped into him, man. Like, I laughed, bro. Fuck, I laughed. And I was young at the time, and then when we were talking about yo-yos and running after we built a relationship, I was like, bro, I remember when you hit that 18.6 up at Te Whaia. You didn't like it, eh?
You got him where it hurt.
Yeah, bro. I was like, well, it was after a few beers. I was like, man, I heard that you were like the fittest dude, and I was coming back in the team. When I saw that, nah, it's not good enough.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, were you ever considering the Warriors?
Yeah, I was, but I gave my word, to Trent quite early on. That if I did come to league, I'd go to the Roosters. So that ended up being like if any other club had have offered me like a bunch more money, I would have gone to the Roosters, because I told him, like, I was really thankful that he had reached out, that he saw it as an option before anyone else really had. So I told him I would do that, and he had told me about sort of the restrictions on salary cap and stuff like that, and they didn't have a bunch of money but it didn't matter. Like I'd given him my word, so that's where I would have gone. Maybe potentially after that, like after going to the Roosters, potentially going to another club could have been an option, but for this year it was them.
That first one.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, on that, which Roosters teammate are you / were you looking most forward to playing with?
Ooh. But there's a couple, like, obviously Teddy's pretty amazing. Like, he's a crazy good player, bro. So to be able to be around someone at that level would have been really cool. Sammy Walker, bro, he's the future. He's going to be something really good. So someone like on the opposite scale, almost someone just starting, but still in terms of talent, but just like he's amazing what he's doing out on the field. So to be able to be around someone through that growth part of their career, that would have been really cool. And I think
you two would have formed a cool, or you guys would have formed a cool partnership to grow over the years too.
That would have been cool, bro. It would have been cool. And there's another young kid. I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, but I think it's Swali, the centre.
Yeah, Joseph.
I think. Yeah. I think he would have been really good too. And then Joey Manu, like he seems like a lad, and he goes hard in that as well. So that would have been cool.
Stacked as team, eh? Morris brothers, although one Brett's gone, obviously.
Yeah, it's sad, eh? Wairega Hargraves, that would have been cool as well.
Yeah. A few Kiwis over there too, eh?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Bro, how good. Okay, last one. What changes would you make to your training regime if you were to make the switch?
Changes what I've made. I reckon like the big fitness difference would be the down and up fitness. So I'd probably be adding more down up. Like we don't do heaps of down and up fitness as a 9 in rugby.
Yeah.
But in league, obviously making tackles, getting up, getting back 10, coming forward and doing it again. And wrestling, I think they would have been the two big adjustments that I would have made to my training.
But you're always a good wrestler too, eh? I remember a few pre-seasons at the Canes. I think you might have choked me out once or twice.
I got your brother this year too.
Did you?
Oh, he wasn't
double. No, but you would have been a league guru. But, mate, honestly, really excited about the news. Going back to the Canes, New Zealand rugby. I know decisions in my career, every time I've had a decision, it's been really tough. I've always found it really stressful, and I've been working with pennies and 1 or 2 options, but you've had 20,000 different options, huge amounts of cash to weigh up. So, mate, I'm just happy that you've got to the decision that you and your family are happy with. And yeah, like I said, really looking forward to seeing you back in that Canes jersey and the All Blacks jersey.
Cheers, bro. Thanks so much for having me and giving me, I guess, the platform to be able to say like what happened, the decision, why the decision, my thought process behind it. Like with media and that nowadays, sometimes that angle gets manipulated at the start. So to be able to do it here first has been a really cool opportunity. So thank you for allowing me that, bro, on your platform.
Mate, hey, thanks for choosing the Woolad podcast. You're an absolute lad. You're the biggest lad in the game. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother. Thanks so much.